Ghislaine Maxwell has sent a warning to Donald Trump after the disastrous hearing of Pam Bondi. Ghislaine essentially wrote to Donald Trump, "You better be careful what your cabinet members are saying." And Ghislaine posted this through family members who run a social media account for her. Specifically, here's what Ghislaine Maxwell had her family post after Attorney General Pam Bondi's awful hearing. So what Ghislaine Maxwell wrote: America's Attorney General told a House Judiciary Committee meeting today she hopes Ghislaine Maxwell dies in prison. This is an extraordinary thing for a nation's chief law officer to wish. It sounds less like justice than bloodlust. Ghislaine is serving a 20-year sentence, not a life term. To hope it proves fatal blurs the line between punishment and revenge. The Justice Department is already under scrutiny for its handling of the Epstein files. It now faces a simpler question. If the guardian of the law talks like a shock jock, what faith should the public have in the system she runs? What happened to prosecution without passion, to prosecution without prejudice? And it's interesting that Ghislaine focuses on that. Overall, Bondi was clearly involved in the cover-up of the child sex trafficking ring, which Ghislaine was convicted of, for which Epstein was charged with and convicted of earlier as well, which Donald Trump is covering up. But there was one small moment under intense cross-examination by Democratic Congresswoman Ross, who was asking Bondi about Ghislaine Maxwell being transferred from Tallahassee to this club-fed VIP facility in Texas, Camp Bryan. And you can tell that this struck a nerve with Bondi, because what I had always heard from all of my sourcing is that Bondi and Blanche were in a dispute over it. Not because Bondi didn't want it to take place, but because Bondi was being blamed for it and had not coordinated it herself. She thought it was done behind her back by Blanche, and Bondi was not given notice of it before, although Bondi was someone who wanted to help Donald Trump cover up the child sex trafficking ring. So when Bondi was being cross-examined on this, Bondi was like, I don't know how the transfer happened. There's a fight right now going on behind the scenes between Bondi and Blanche. People think that Blanche is going to soon be replacing Bondi, especially after her disastrous performance as the next Attorney General. So that's part of what was going on behind the scenes. But if you look at Ghislaine's coded language right here, to hope it proves fatal blurs the line. The Justice Department is already under scrutiny for its handling of the Epstein files, and then it faces a simpler question. If the guardian of the law talks like a shock jock, what faith should the public have in the system she runs? I mean, by the way, screw you, Ghislaine. I mean, you're a child sex trafficker, so let me be very blunt about that. But I want to point out the coded language here. Shock jock, I also think, is directed at Trump, given his prior connections with Howard Stern and a lot of the audio that came out there. And then she's talking about the public already doesn't trust you. Remember what our deal was, Donald. Remember what Blanche told me. This is what I think is going on behind the scenes here. I'll give you more data points, but let me show you over here the questioning, the cross-exam by Congresswoman Ross to Bondi. And Bondi was able to stay on her script of basically attacking the members of Congress, ducking and dodging, but there was this moment where she let it slip. And then Ghislaine hit her right away and hit Trump right away with that statement. And to me, it's saying, stay in your lane. And this is the problem where you have the Trump regime essentially being run at this point by Ghislaine's threats, right? Trump is compromised. He's shown weakness to Ghislaine, and she knows exactly where to poke and prod. So watch this cross-examination so you can see for yourself.
Attorney General Bondi, does a convicted sex offender like Ghislaine Maxwell deserve special treatment and privileges in prison? Yes or no?
Let me be crystal clear on this. No. And
Thank you.
Let me keep going. No, let me keep going.
Perfect. Well, I
did not know she was being transferred.
I asked you yes or no.
She was not transferred to a lower
Mr. Chairman,
level.
please stop the clock and remind the witness of the rules. One rule she needs to understand here.
And I'm glad that we're agreeing. So when we're agreeing, we can move on to some other things.
When
but I
we're not
want you to
agreeing,
know that every time she does get these perks, and it's been publicly reported, that the folks she's abused, the survivors who are sitting here, they see themselves as being denied justice. They feel re-traumatized. And I'm glad that we agree on that. But she should not be in that prison. And she needs to be moved back to a maximum security prison as soon as possible. But what she has told another committee here is that she won't cooperate with them unless she gets clemency from Donald Trump. It's just crazy to consider that she can be wielding this kind of influence within the administration. But that begs the question, who ordered her to be transferred to the minimum security prison that she was ineligible for? Who signed off on the special privileges? Was it Mr. Blanche? Was it one of your other subordinates? So please, can you tell us who sent her there, since you don't agree she should be there?
I said I do not agree she should receive special treatment. She was transferred, I learned after the fact, to the same level facility, and that is a question for the Bureau of Prisons. I was not involved in that at all. The same level facility, I don't know why, but you know, instead of talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, who hopefully will die in prison, you should be talking about Irina Zarutska.
I have a couple
who
of
died
other
on a
questions.
subway.
Right, and I absolutely—
You don't talk about that.
I have been talking about it and actually helping with these issues. But we're gonna move back to you.
I bet we are.
Yes, of course, because you're here to testify. That's what the whole point of this endeavor is. So of course we're moving back to you. It is all about you.
Now, of course, this follows the statement by Ghislaine's lawyer, David Oscar Marcus, what he said at her deposition where she invoked the Fifth. Remember? He goes on and says, but if you grant her clemency, Donald Trump, she will exonerate you. She can't testify today. Sure, she talked to Todd Blanche and said what you wanted, Donald. Remember? Now just grant her clemency and she'll bring it home for you, Donald. In my opinion, that's the coded language. I'm just giving you my opinion, but you could disagree, right? We're all entitled to our First Amendment opinion speech. But I think that's what Ghislaine was saying. Bring it home, Donald. And she likes Blanche, doesn't like Bondi, even though Bondi's playing to an audience of one with Donald Trump to cover up the child sex trafficking ring, while they're competing, Blanche and Bondi, for who can cover up the child sex trafficking ring better for Donald. Like, do you see what's going on behind the scenes? And I'll give you this example right here. When Democratic Congress member, this is one of the types of things that Ghislaine can actually reveal. And hopefully we get this information anyway. But Congressmember Goldman, when he went to the DOJ special facility where they have the unredacted Epstein files, which are being unlawfully withheld, there are documents that Epstein forwarded to Ghislaine, so she knows all about this. And it's obvious if these were forwarded to her in 2009, she was lying through her teeth when she spoke to Todd Blanche. I don't know anything about Donald Trump. You knew in very detail what was going on. But this email, I believe, shows Donald Trump's lawyers speaking with Epstein lawyers, showing that Epstein was never banned from Mar-a-Lago. He was never a member to begin with. He was always a guest and a friend of Donald Trump. And the DOJ is withholding this document. It's a perfect example to protect Donald Trump under a claim of privilege. This is, I think, there's a lot of people talking about documents. This is the most important one. And Ghislaine knows that this document and many more like this. So what her warning is to Donald Trump, the public already doesn't trust this process. So we know that she's an absolute liar and you can't trust anything she says, and she's a convicted sex trafficker. But what she could do is give a roadmap where to find documents that are being withheld right now, which she knows exist, like this one right here. And then you can corroborate it at least with the document. Watch this exchange between Goldman and Bondi when Bondi's like, oh, this information about Trump is privileged. It's being with what are you talking about? It's privileged, right? Nuts. Here, play this clip.
I also found an email that I have right here from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell that was unredacted. And it included notes of statements that Donald Trump made about his prior relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, there is no reason for this to be hidden from the American people. There is no privilege. There is no attorney-client privilege. And I see you're checking with your staff. And I can assure you, staff, this is not under attorney-client privilege because it was sent from Jeffrey Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell. Will you commit to publicly providing the unredacted version of this so that the American people can understand the extent of Donald Trump's lies about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein?
You're about as good of a lawyer today as you were when you tried to impeach President Trump in 2016. Have you apologized for that in 2019?
So will you unredact this? Will you unredact this?
You were lead counsel on that. Privileged.
I'm asking you, will you unredact this?
Privileged.
Privileged, of course. I look forward to discussing this more.
Lately, everyone's trying to clean up their habits, myself included, and honestly, having one less drink has never felt easier. Instead of pouring a cocktail, I've been reaching for Sol's out-of-office drinks and gummies. Same relaxing vibe, zero alcohol, zero hangover, and I still wake up feeling like a functional adult. Sol makes feeling good simple. They make delicious, hemp-derived CBD and THC products with precise dosing, clean ingredients, and formulations designed for predictable, feel-good effects. Sol is the alcohol alternative that puts you in control of your mood. Their best-selling out-of-office gummies deliver a customizable calming buzz, from a 1.5 milligram microdose for a gentle lift to 15 milligrams for a deeper, more elevated experience. It's the easiest way to unwind without the grogginess or next-day regret of alcohol. And let's be real, alcohol can mean poor sleep, extra calories, missed workouts, and that sluggish next day feeling. With Sol, I can unwind, feel relaxed and social, and still stick to my healthier habits. I also love that everything is made with organically farmed USA grown hemp. It's vegan, gluten-free, low sugar, and federally legal. Give yourself the gift of a healthier unwind. Right now, Sol is offering my audience 30% off your entire order. Go to getsol.com and use the code Meidas. That's getsol.com, promo code Meidas for 30% off. MEIDAS.
Now, let me show you what the correct script is that Bondi screwed up the script. The script is, if you're asked about clemency or moving Ghislaine Maxwell, you're just supposed to say, in the Trump regime, I can't really answer. We're moving on. I can't answer that, right? I mean, you had Caroline Leavitt 2 days ago when she was asked about this, said, is the president going to rule out a pardon? Oh, this isn't even something we talk about. That's the talking point that for that one moment Bondi missed. Here, play this clip.
On Ghislaine Maxwell, is the president going to rule out a pardon for her? In her testimony, deposition yesterday, her legal team seemed to be making a case, again, for a pardon from the president.
Again, this is not something I've discussed with the president recently because, frankly, it's not a priority. He's focused on many of the issues that the American people are dealing with and providing solutions to those issues. So I haven't spoken with him recently. Last time we did speak about it, he said it's not something he's considering or thinking about.
Caroline.
Go ahead, Bloomberg.
Thanks, Caroline. Secretary Lutnick today was testifying on the Hill.
And look, James Comer understood the talking point. Play this clip.
Mr. Chairman, quick question. What are your thoughts about Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer saying she needs clemency to testify before she testifies?
Well, I don't know. Initially, she said a month ago that she would testify if we granted her immunity on the Oversight Committee. And we discussed that after we met with the survivors, and they didn't support that, so we never considered it after that. So this was something new today. Obviously, that's not for me to decide. That's for the president to decide. So, thank you.
Congressmember Cole understood the talking point. Play this clip.
Mr. Chairman, real quick, should Ghislaine Maxwell get clemency to testify?
I'm sorry?
Should Ghislaine Maxwell get clemency to testify?
Oh, I have no earthly idea.
Oh, got it. Any updates on DHS funding?
Don't know yet. I mean, we've passed the bill. We're still waiting on the Senate to do something.
Got it.
Are Republicans open to any of the proposed reforms that Democrats put out?
Congresswoman Maliotakis understood the talking point. Play this clip.
Hey, Congresswoman, real quick, should Ghislaine Maxwell get clemency to testify?
I gotta go to the physician's office.
Oh, got it.
And here is Caroline Levitt saying, we're moving on from Epstein. We're not talking about it anymore.
And that remains true. And this call, if it did happen, corroborates exactly what President Trump has said from the beginning. And I'm sure many of you, when you read that alleged FBI report, probably thought to yourself, wow, this really cracks our narrative that we've been trying to push about this president for many years. So we're moving on from that. Reagan.
You're moving on? Really? You're just moving on? And by the way, folks, even right-wing podcasters like Andrew Scholes, they realize what's going on. Watch what Scholes says about Ghislaine Maxwell wanting clemency. Play this clip.
Ghislaine speaks with Trump's former lawyer, and then all of a sudden now she's in a nice cushy place, and all of a sudden she's pleading the fifth.
Yeah. And she said,
that's weird.
I'll blab if you let me out.
She
says, if he gives me immunity or clemency, is that the word? What's the difference between clemency and immunity?
I thought clemency, you take away the charges. Immunity is just like
you still have the charges, but anything I say can't be used against me.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Okay, so she wants clemency to clear Trump's name, and it's like, well, if his name was clear, why do you need clemency?
Immunity is before, clemency's after. That's what they're saying.
Got it. Okay, but like to me, like, is she shrewd enough to indict him that way? Like, is she smart enough to go, yeah, I'll clear Trump if you give me clemency? Well, if he's clear, why are you even putting that on the table?
Well,
right? Like, just
she might be shrewd enough, but she doesn't have to be, because her attorneys are meeting with her, being like, "Hey, just say this." You know what I mean? Like, you have enough smart people working on her behest to be like, "Hey, here's what you're going to say," in order to put pressure on the right people.
And also, you have Scholes saying, "How powerful are the people that Trump is trying to protect?" We know it's obvious to me, to Scholes, to anybody, no matter where you stand, right, left, center, independent, left, boom, up, down, purple, green, red, blue. It's obvious. Watch what Scholes says.
So how powerful are the people that Trump is protecting? Or does Epstein or the powers that be have incriminating evidence on him prior to 2005? Evidence of him doing any, I don't even want to mention horrible fucking things. Where he's willing to go down with the ship instead of just exposing it. Because if he did stop being friends with him and he was sure that they didn't have anything, knowing Trump, wouldn't he just sell everyone else down the river?
That's what I'm saying.
Even Tim Pool. Here's what Tim Pool had to say. Play this clip.
I ain't cutting Trump any slack. Now that we know that they've covered up the conspirator documents, there's a document saying that they were investigating co-conspirators Epstein. There's photos and videos of minors and children. Dan Bongino was like, look, a lot of these things were hearsay and, fake tips that were uncorroborated. All of that is true, but there's still no excuse for them not exposing these deep, dark, corrupt pedos. Like, I can understand. Bill Gates didn't do anything criminal. If it is true that he got an STD from Russian hookers and gave it to his wife on accident, that's not illegal. He got divorced. I can understand why it's embarrassing. And I can respect someone saying, please don't release that email. It's not material to anybody. It's just internal drama that's gross and embarrassing.
Yeah.
But there's other stuff in there, like that's already being brought up, that I would say is shocking to the conscience that Trump called it a hoax.
And then I'll leave you with Congressmember Walkinshaw said the following about Trump's view on clemency, about Ghislaine. And this again, this is why Ghislaine made that post. Because when she heard, she was good with everything else Bondi said. But that one moment, Ghislaine's reasserting herself and saying, Donald, get Blanche to be the AG. Donald, and trust me, that coded message is being sent. Let's play the clip of Democratic Congressmember Walkinshaw. Let's play it.
Ghislaine Maxwell is a monster. She facilitated, aided, and abetted Epstein's crimes, engaged in those crimes. She was the enforcer who threatened the victims and the survivors of those crimes. And today we looked into the eyes of that monster in the deposition. What we did not get were any substantive answers to the questions that were asked that would advance our investigation, to help us learn who were the other men involved in these crimes, to help us learn who were the others who knew about these crimes, to help us learn what exactly was said between Todd Blanche and Ghislaine Maxwell that led her to be transferred to a minimum security prison. What we did get was another episode in her long-running campaign for clemency from President Trump. And President Trump could end that today. He could rule out clemency for Ghislaine Maxwell, the monster. He could rule out a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell, the monster. The question for all of us today is, why hasn't he done that, and why won't he do that?
Well, there you have it. Let me know what you all think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Thanks everybody for watching.
New Meidas merch. Head to store.meidastouch.com today and get yourself the best pro-democracy gear and show your support. That's store.meidastouch.com.